Okay, I'd like to welcome you back. Once again, I'm Jeff Wise, your host, along with Andre Tucker and Chad Allen, my co-host. We're all Dallas Cowboy fans here. And we're going to move on to the New York Giants in this segment. So, New York Giants, Eli Manning goes into this game on Sunday and gets another clutch win, as he always does. It seems like that this is becoming a pattern for Eli.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes. They're getting ready to call him the new John Elway. King of the comeback.
So to speak. So to speak.
I mean, whew, that guy's amazing, man. I honestly, like I said, when they made the change from Kurt Warner to Eli, probably I'm gonna say 6, 7 years ago, however long it was, I didn't really see Eli being this good. I didn't.
You know, I'll be honest with you, I didn't either. I didn't see that happen. I didn't see that coming at all. I kind of, and you know what, I tell you what, I judged him based on what he looked like athletically. I'll be honest with you. I looked at this guy and I was just like, he just doesn't even seem like he knows what's going on half the time. You know, that's the way he came off. And then he just didn't look very athletic. Yeah, but
it's not even that. I judged Eli from day one because I thought he was coming in with that Manning swagger.
Okay.
The Chargers selected him, he refused to play for the Chargers. So I said, wow, this guy's picking and choosing where he wants to play. I mean, come on. I mean, you're drafted. I mean, you're making millions of dollars regardless. You just suit up. But I guess he's seen something different than we've seen.
And the thing is, too, you know, going into New York also, so, you know, that's just the media, you know, mecca. And the thing is, like, from where he came, Ole Miss, you know, pretty much a little laid back, going from Ole Miss to New York, you know, it's just like love. You either feast or fam, you know, it's like love. You know, you got to go in there and be able to handle the critics. You know, you got to have thick skin. You know, they're going to come at you all 3 different, 4 or 5 different kind of ways. Right. You know, and coming into that, it was just a whole lot of doubts going on. A whole lot.
And one time I thought Tony Romo was better than him. I really did. What a fool I've been.
You know what? Look, I got a lot to say about that right there. Because I certainly don't believe that. I definitely don't believe that. Well, I don't believe that. I really don't believe that that's the case. But I will say this here. I look at the Giants and I look at their numbers. I look at this past week's game, and they didn't really do anything, I would say, that really stood out.
No.
That I would say I was impressed with their performance against the Redskins. When I look at the fact that, you know, Amar Bradshaw only had 43 yards rushing. Eli completed 26 of 40 attempts. You know, so it wasn't like they were just over the top with, you know, just going out and just dominating in this game. But the thing is
mental toughness.
And they made the plays when they needed to make the plays to win the game.
To your mentality.
Yeah.
Okay, no moment's too big for you.
Right.
I mean, if you think about it, if you can do it in the Super Bowl against Tom Brady, and they got pretty much the same nucleus. I'm not, you know, a couple people left.
Bill Belichick coach team. Bottom line.
Yeah, when you can do that, I mean, twice, not once. Eli's proven twice, so as you said before, it's becoming a habit. It's not like, oh well, they might. No.
Yeah, it's not coincidence anymore. Because as you said before, you know, you beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl twice the same way, and that performance, you know, kind of reminded me of what they did on Sunday. You know, when they
are supposed to be the better team.
Well, you know what? Even when I date back to last season when the Cowboys played the Giants in Dallas on that Sunday night, and you know the Cowboys had the Giants down 34-22 with 5 minutes left in that game, and they were able to engineer 2 long drives and win that game.
But did you think the game was over when it was 34-20?
I absolutely thought that game was over. I absolutely thought it was over. I didn't.
It's only because, again, it goes back to where, you know, the Giants are going to play the entire game, and it goes back to the Cowboys, whereas they will find ways to lose.
But you know what it was?
I remember talking to my buddy that same game you're talking about. Now, we're on the phone, and I'm like, man, they're going to beat us 30. I said, what is the score? They need 2 touchdowns? Okay, they're gonna beat us because, like I said, I didn't have the confidence that we had the close ability. Because when we got up, you seen Des Bryant, he took the ball and did his little, act like you've been there before. I mean, and then our defense put us in some bad positions.
And you know what? And that's the thing. That what I didn't realize. See, the reason that I thought we were going to win that game is because I saw our offensive numbers. If you remember, Tony Romo was, 4 touchdowns, over 300 yards passing, no interceptions. I mean, we were just killing these guys, man. I mean, we torched them. But you know what? But they did some good things against our defense as well. But what I didn't realize about that game was how bad our defense was.
Really?
That was the thing. I didn't really know until that game how bad our defense really was.
And they attacked what was the weakness.
That prompted Jerry Jones to make the moves he made in the offseason.
Right.
And they attacked.
I mean, we spent $50 million on this and that. I mean, I don't fault the man for trying to make the upgrades. I mean, I don't fault that. I just want to see performance with the upgrades you're making.
So you know what? I tell you what, it sounds like that we're actually transitioning into our Cowboys discussion. So we might as well just go ahead on and get on it because, the Cowboys and the Giants, they actually, play next week. So here we are. We were talking a little bit about the Giants. We started talking about the Cowboys. So we might as well talk about this matchup that's coming up on Sunday. But you know what? Before we do that, let's kind of just recap what the Cowboys did this past Sunday, and then we'll move on to our Giants-Cowboys discussion. Last week, Dre, you had mentioned that if the Cowboys lost this game, that Romo wouldn't be the reason. So now the question is now, the Cowboys won this game. Do you hold Romo responsible for this victory?
Wow. Well, if you looked at the game Sunday, I would say that Jason Garrett took the game out of Tony Romo's hands. And I mean, he didn't want him to make the mistake. And I don't think Romo will ever have the confidence to make plays if you continue to take the ball out of his hands in crucial situations. Players have to make plays. That's the only way you become an upper echelon quarterback. So I'm not going to say he won it or lost it last week. Last week, he was just like, what do they call it? A caretaker. He was there just taking care of the offense, not making, because we weren't going to the end zone. I didn't see no plays. I mean, we could have put these Carolina Panthers away several times.
You see, but I'm not necessarily sure if that's the case, though. And the reason that I say is because, a lot of people have been giving me a lot of flack about, the Cowboys barely escaping this game against Carolina. Oh, you only beat these guys 19-14, and Carolina isn't that good, and I get. But here's the thing. But you know what I noticed? I went back and I looked at Carolina's record this year and all the teams that they played. And besides the Giants game, that was a completely lopsided game, they've been in every game.
They haven't been blown out.
They haven't been blown out. I mean, if you remember, this is the same team that almost beat the Atlanta Falcons if they hadn't given up a big play in the last few minutes of that game.
I wasn't worried about Cam Newton throwing the ball. I was worried about them opening those lanes where he can run the ball and then make plays.
And that's the thing. Whereas, where it was a little defensive scheme, where it was a plus on the Cowboys side. Whereas it was like, look, try to make him throw the ball, try to make him throw. But then yet still, he has in the back of his mind, they're already 1-4, so he's already gripping.
Right.
So he's just out there trying to make a play by any means. Mm-hmm. And and at times you can see where he's pressing. And you can feed off of that. And our defense, our secondary, they played okay. And we got a couple pressure sacks, and that took him out of his comfort zone.
And that was the thing. And I felt like our defense got the plays and the pressures, and they got the stops when they needed them the most. And that's important. Well, and you know what? And if that's the case, and that's exactly my point, then the way the Cowboys defense played against him was exactly what was supposed to happen. Okay? So that's what I believe. And I think that Dallas did exactly what they were supposed to do. Carolina comes into this game. These guys they're coming off of a bye. Yes. So coming off of a bye, they have the opportunity to be able to study and look at what the Cowboys can do well. You got a whole week to prepare. And plus we're going into your house. And so I expected that game to kind of go the way that it did. Once it got started and I started looking at what was going on, I said to myself, you know what? The Cowboys are in for a tough game, but they're still going to pull this one out. I think that there were a couple of plays in the game that Dallas did leave on the field. Des Bryant dropped a touchdown in the end zone. And we'll get to him later. Des Bryant dropped that touchdown in the end zone, so the score could have been a little different. We had the Miles Austin fumble. But, when I looked at the formations that Carolina was playing, if you notice, they had their safeties playing way back. So just the idea, of the Cowboys shooting the ball down the field, I didn't think that was going to happen. Carolina wasn't giving us that. We had to stay with a lot of the underneath stuff. And to me, I think that it shows a lot of patience on Tony Romo's part to be able to take all those underneath things, and not try to force the ball down the field into coverage and possibly turn it over.
Yes.
So
that's a fair assessment. I mean, to get out of there with the win is the key. Get out of there with the win. I mean,
and almost Anthony had a sack in that game.
It wasn't no blowout.
Yeah.
It wasn't no blowout.
Well,
I do remember a blowout being called.
Okay.
It depends on what. I mean, as a Cowboys fan, we're all here now. When you see this team come out of the locker room, you can tell what kind of game it's going to be. And last week, it wasn't that feel of, it's more or less like, let's just survive. Get the win by any means necessary, but let's survive. If we stay close to this team, we keep this as a close game. In the end, we should win.
And you know what?
That's basically how they play.
But you know what, though? I really don't see anything wrong with that. I mean, considering the fact that you're playing against a team that likes to run that option. The option is a strange kind of offense, especially if you don't see this kind of offense all the time, it can beat you. Especially when you got a guy like Cam Newton. So I think it was important for the Cowboys to keep this a close game, to make this a game where we say we're just going to stay disciplined, we're going to stay in our lanes, we're not going to give you this, but we're not going to let you have this either.
Yeah, I can see where you're going with that, but my thing is just that it's been too many times where that bit us. The fact of the matter is we're on the road, okay? Now, we have an opportunity to put points on the board. We cannot kick field goals all season. We can't keep it close because a turnover here, a drive killer here is going to shift the momentum. And if you're only down 3 points going into the fourth quarter on the road, that's nothing. That's nothing. You can't, this day and age, you got to put points on the board if you're on the road.
So it's 19 points going to win the game this week.
Okay, I was going to say we can move into this matchup between the Cowboys and the Giants coming up on Sunday.
19 points is not going to win this game.
Well, you know what?
Hands down.
Well, you know what? The thing about it is I can't necessarily say that. And I'll tell you why. Because what I'm seeing is, we talked about this before, I think that the Cowboys defense isn't really getting a lot of credit here. Because this defense really isn't giving up any points. They didn't really give up that many points against the Giants in the first meeting. The Giants didn't score over 20 points against the Cowboys. It was 17 points is what we gave up? We gave up 14 last week.
It was the first game for both teams. So in those situations, the game can go either way. But the Giants is like hitting their stride right now. And normally this is a time when they start to falter and lose like 3 or 4 in a row and then come back to the pack. But right now, it seems like they're getting better. And
for that very reason, this is the reason why I was going to say, the kind of game that the Cowboys played on Sunday is probably the kind of game that they should play this coming Sunday. The reason...
Forget now, they own us in Dallas.
And you know what? And they do. You know what? They do. They do. But you know what? This is what I went back and looked at. All the games that we've played them since we've opened that stadium at home have been primetime games. This is the first time that we'll be playing the Giants, and it's no,
it's prime time.
No.
Whether it's at 8 o'clock or it's at 4 o'clock.
But you know what the difference is?
It's at 5 in the morning.
Yeah, it's prime time.
but the difference is it's not that game where everybody is done playing. It's the only game on. It's the spotlight game. It has that whole playoff, Super Bowl atmosphere kind of thing. That's not what kind of game this is. I think that the Cowboys are going to be able to go in and play a patient game, and I think they come out with a win. I think they come out with an ugly win this week.
I can't.
I mean, now let me ask you: would you take an ugly win against the Giants?
Well, for right now, just because we will get the win, but my thing is that the way they're playing and the way they're hitting, they're going to play 60. It's going to be a dogfight. But my thing is, do we have what it takes? Do we have that mental toughness to, if we get down, are we going to be able?
And see, that's just it.
Collectively.
You know what? And that's just it.
Are we going to be able to handle adversity?
I think we will.
If an adverse situation comes up, I mean, if we've learned anything, I'm going to go back to the Ravens game and this game that just passed. We've learned, okay, we're building. So we're taking our time, we're getting into it. We're coming under the radar, so to speak. So, I mean, a team that, well, we want to be playing our best footballs in December and January. So this game right here will send us well on our way to a good week if we should win it.
Well, and again, like I said, this is very huge. I think this is bigger than the Ravens game or even the Carolina game, only because it's a division game. If we have the opportunity, if we have the opportunity to go up 2 games on them, that's putting us in a very good position. But my thing is that we have to understand what it is, what it's about, you know.
But that'll also take us to what? Will that be 2-0 in the division? And they'll be 1-3? I mean, those games down the wire come to, and this would be a key victory. Okay, they're 5-2. This win would take us to 4-3. And we beat them twice. So we got games in hand on them when it comes down to, like last year, tiebreaker. Okay, we beat them twice. And as long as we split with the Redskins and the Eagles, we control our own destiny as far as playoffs is concerned. It's a little early, but we got 10 games left.
But you know what? I tell you, the reason that I think the Cowboys come out with a win in this game is, I mean, the Giants are good, but I think the difference is our defense. And for some reason, I believe that our defense is going to be able to say, you know what? Like, think about this here. Orlando Scandrick. Now, last year, we heard a lot about Orlando Scandrick because he was getting barbecued almost every game. Am I right?
Barbecue ain't even a word.
But now my question is
can't cover a big.
But now my question is are you hearing that this year?
He's not out there in those situations.
Of course he is. We have him in the slot. He's been playing the same position.
He is, but he's not featured.
He's not featured. He's not featuring the top receivers. He's in there, but it's not like he's guarding anybody. I mean, he's not. I won't say anybody of significance because they're all exceptional. I'm just saying it's not like he's the focal point. He's not a Morris Claiborne.
So would you say? So would you say that the Giants' strategy would be to take Victor Cruz and put him in the slot like they did against the Redskins on Sunday?
We got better outside coverage now too.
We absolutely do, and that's what makes the difference.
That's what made Scandrick look a lot worse because we weren't getting coverage on the outside. So then we weren't getting coverage on the inside. So. Okay, Scandrick, but this year he's under the radar because it's a couple games I didn't even know he was still on the team.
Right.
So,
but I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, that's fine.
You know, I think when you're not hearing about these guys, what it means is there isn't a whole lot of activity that's going on in their area.
Not saying that. The thing is that, okay, just because they're not having that kind of activity doesn't mean they're not going to go late in the game where we need that stop. And it's like, oh, yeah, he is still in the game. Look, he got the 3rd and 4. You know, that's all I'm saying. Okay, if you want to play, yeah, I'm under the radar. So I'm like, I still got to be on point because they can come to me at any time.
Know you're down in distance.
Absolutely.
But I think
getting off the field on 3rd down against the Giants will be key.
And you know what? And
if you get to 3rd and 3 or 4, and you can somehow, I mean, get in Eli's face, make him throw a little sooner than he wants to, because rhythm is everything.
And see, you know what? Now, getting the Giants off the field is one thing. Keeping them off the field, to me, is a better strategy. Right. And this is what I mean. You know what I noticed that in the middle of their defense, their linebackers, you know what they have an issue with? They have an issue with lateral movement. Lateral coverage. So I think that this is a game that the Cowboys they put in Lance Dunbar because he has a lot of speed. He can get that edge pretty quickly. And I think that if the Cowboys do that, they can sustain drives. You know, they can have methodical drives. In other words, it's the same formula that the New England Patriots used against Peyton Manning. You know, when Peyton Manning was, you know, when the Colts offense was like that high power, they can go down the field in like 4 or 5 plays and score a touchdown. The New England Patriots would come back with a 13, 14 play drive and cap it off with a touchdown. And they kept Eli, they kept Peyton and his guys off the field. We knew that Peyton Manning can go down the field in like 3 or 4 plays.
I agree with that. But we've tried everything we could try against Eli. I've seen us take a whole quarter from Eli, and he threw a touchdown in 14 seconds.
I understand what you're saying.
I've seen that. So
listen. And
we just got to go shot for shot.
And I think the worst thing that the Cowboys can do is get into a shootout with this team.
So, okay, well, it's going to be games like that, whereas you got to take the handcuffs off of Tony Romo.
Well, but
I would rather him throw maybe 3 picks, but still come out with the win. He might throw for 400.
Yeah, but the thing is,
3 picks, but we still come out with the win.
But the problem is this here. The problem is, even if he throws 3 picks, the issue that I have with that against the Giants is you're giving Eli extra possessions that he doesn't need.
Well, that's true.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but Eli's more like a prime time performer. Eli, because like if you look at the Redskins game, Eli's not going to dominate you throughout the game. It's when he's challenged. Yeah. So say we go up. This is key because we have proven this as well. Say we go up like last year. 34-22. We just got, our defense has to put the nail in the coffin.
Right. And I think that this defense that we have this year can do that. You know, because this is what you have to
because big games, prime time, it don't matter if it's 4, 1, or 8. We will find a way to lose the game.
But this is what you got to remember. Let's just take a quick walk down memory lane and look at what this defense was last year, and I can just name off some guys that aren't there anymore. Yeah. So Terrence Newman, gone. Brady James, gone. Yeah. Keith Brooking, gone. What's the guy's name? Abe Elam, gone. Frank Walker, gone. I mean, we don't have these guys on our defense anymore. And so to me, what I see is a team that's gotten a lot younger in some of those key positions that we're talking about. We upgraded at cornerback. You know, Morris Claiborne. I mean, I've seen him give up some plays, but guess what? But I've seen him shut some guys down as well. And to me, that's everything.
Well, because somebody tell me where Jenkins is. I haven't seen him.
Well, you know what?
Is he still around?
And see, that's another thing.
Is he on the plane?
You got to remember. You got to. And here is the thing. Let me tell you what. He did.
I think so.
He played a couple of plays in that game. But the thing is, see, when the Cowboys, what'd you say?
Did he make an impact?
Hey.
Well, we won. He had something to do with it. I mean, obviously.
When he carried somebody's helmet?
But I mean, the thing is, see, I like that, you know, having Jenkins and Carr and Claiborne and even Skandrick in that mix. Because when you get teams that go to these 3 receiver sets, see, we can put 4 decent corners on the field now.
Because Jenkins would be, if somebody came in with an outstanding offer, he'd be going. I like the way it's set up too. Because, okay, Jenkins was a good corner until he started, once he lost his confidence. So it was good for us to draft the corner, let him see, okay, well, you lost your confidence. We got rid of Terrence Newman. This is a step up. This is next man up league. We know that. So, look, get out there and play week in and week out. You're gonna leave some plays on the field, but make up. Okay, Miles Austin, for example, he left a play on the field, but he
came back
and made the touchdown.
Yeah, that's all I want, and that's all I want as a fan. Don't hang your head on the sideline. All right. Okay, we're going to forget about that. I mean, it was crucial. I mean, you already know if you're in traffic, you got to cover up the ball.
And okay, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I believe we ended up giving up a touchdown on that drive too.
Yeah, we did.
We ended up that turnover ended up it turned into a touchdown. Yeah. So, well, you know what?
See, but he got it back.
And he got it back.
And another thing that I just wanted to put out there is just that okay, Jason Garrett might have a game plan, okay, and the thing is it might not go his way, and it's called again
end game adjustment.
But I think he does that well. I think especially this last game, you got to give him some credit.
There's going to be some adversity.
But here's the thing.
Some adversity, and there's going to be some clock management issues that you're going to have to just know.
But here's
going to be some down.
But here's the thing. See a lot of that stuff that you're saying, I'm not seeing that on the coach. I'm seeing a lot of that on the players. I'm seeing the players not being able to execute some of these things.
I think the coach is the ultimate. So what you ultimate. He has to know all that. You got guys that's up in the press box. You got guys that's feed him info, like you said, down and distance. You got to know the situation.
If Tyron Smith jumps offside 3 times, that's coaching. He's not holding him accountable. And when they having a session, a film session, Rob Ryan is around. You're not saying, well, look, or no, he's not offensive.
DeMarcus Ware, he jumped off sides a lot too.
Because he's not patient. You got to wait for the ball to be snapped.
Absolutely. You know, and like I said, you know, it's just the drive killers. It's just the little things. You know, the jumping off sides. You know, the extra nonsense that, just let the game come.
And see, you know what? And this is the reason why I'm saying, like, I believe that the Cowboys are going to be able to win this game this Sunday. One of the things that I noted about the Giants is you realize that they're 23rd against the rush.
Well, now after last week giving up over 200,
right? They're 23rd.
So who we handing the ball to?
We got Lance Dunbar, we got Phillip Tanner, and Felix Jones. And I think that you put those guys in the mix. I think that when you mix it up, well, I mean, but the thing is I think that you get the ball in those 3 guys' hands. You're not wearing out one guy. But as I was saying, we're talking about that getting to the edge. The Giants have an issue.
Jones in position. He's not a ground and pound like we're trying to use.
No, but
he's not that.
And you know what?
He's that guy that you bring in on third to make up
little screen,
flare.
And what did you say? Screens, wheel routes. Guess what? Getting to the edge. That's how you beat the Giants.
But that's where I say this is where Jason Garrett got to know the situation. You can't just say, well, we just going to run, establish the run. Run. Okay, well, that's fine. So if we got a weak outside linebacker that's not getting no pressure, okay, well, let's put a running back out there on the linebacker. Let's see what that,
But see, the one thing
you just got to attack their weakness.
But the one thing I got to give Jason Garrett credit for is he seems to prepare well for the Giants. He does. You got to give him credit. He prepares this team so well against the Giants. He does.
Only because maybe on the road, but not at home.
Okay, because a key point is, people talk about how they've dominated. They dominated us in Dallas. We've won 3 out of 4 in New York.
We have.
So
we have.
Like he said, he prepares. Okay, when he takes that against the Giants, okay, but are they the only team we play all year?
Absolutely not.
Well, you know what? But this is the thing that you have to understand, that every division has to have a measuring stick. It's the same way the Seattle Seahawks are going to look at the San Francisco 49ers and say, that's the team that we have to beat.
Okay.
The same way the Baltimore Ravens will look at the Pittsburgh Steelers and say, that's the team that we have to beat. Miami is going to look at New England and say, that's the team that we have to beat. Well, in our division, the Cowboys are going to look at the Giants and say, that's the team we have to beat. I mean, you got to think about it. This team has won 2 Super Bowls in the last 4 or 5 years. So, of course, they're going to be the team that we have to beat. And considering the fact that we haven't been as successful against the Giants in the last few years as we would have liked to, we have to win this game. Jason Garrett gets us.
It's not like they've been blowing us.
No, they haven't. No, they haven't.
Find ways to lose these games.
When we play the Giants, among all the teams that we play in our division, we always find ways to lose to them. We find, like the Redskins, we find ways to beat them.
But you know what the difference is?
Philly, we lose to them as well.
The difference is I see a different sense in our defense this year because of guys like Claiborne and Carr. These guys weren't there for all those years. They weren't there for all of that. So I don't think they care. None of that stuff is in their head. You know what I mean?
But the majority of our players, it is in their head. And you still got Sense and Ball. You still got
Jenkins.
You still got Ratliff.
Yeah, we got our whole front line.
But now here's the other thing you got to think. Now we got a healthy Ratliff coming back. Ratliff is just coming, and I tell you, man, and he's going to make a big impact. I noticed something about Josh Brent the other day, who's been taking his place. Josh Brent has been having an issue with shedding tackles. But this last game, man, every time Ratliff was out and they put Brent in there, Brent got up. I mean, instead of him, you know, fighting with the, he was shedding.
No, say it again.
Instead of him fighting with the tackles.
What you're saying is a player that's prepared to play a certain amount of plays. So when he had to be the man, maybe he couldn't go, you know.
And you know what? And that
Victor Butler's the same.
Listen, and you know what?
Dynamic player.
And you know what? And
in special situations.
But you know what? But that's fine, because my thing is that's what you want. You want to be able to rotate those guys in and out. Think about this here. One of the reasons why the Giants right now have another Super Bowl title is because of their rotation. It's because of their ability to be able to rotate their guys in and out.
Okay, as you know it and as he knows it, we know it. Okay, but why don't they know? Okay, Victor Butler's not a starter yet.
So why don't they know?
By no means.
Okay, because when the linebacker was out and he was asked to play the whole game, he looked like he was stuck in the mud.
I mean, you know what? And he could have been. And maybe he is a situational guy. But if he's a situational guy, then guess what? Then use him in those situations. And that, to me, that's how you win games. Then let him be a situational guy.
Rob Ryan? Because if we're seeing that as a fan, Rob Ryan, you're looking at him every day.
Yeah.
I'm only seeing him for
briefly.
I'm seeing him 2 hours a week.
He's gassed. I'm like, he's running. Where is he running?
I'm seeing him 2 hours a week. He can't even get off the sideline. There's 12 men on the field.
Yeah. You know, so
I mean, when DeMarcus Ware went down, I noticed that years ago when DeMarcus Ware was hurt, neck, whatever. I said that Victor Butler's going to be something special.
I said the same thing about him.
But we got to mold him. We have to mold him.
Do above and beyond his comfort level. He was a little deer in the headlights.
And
that's what a lot of our players.
To the players.
And that's what a lot of our players. And then you know, I just want to. Can we take a break?
You know what? Yeah, let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll continue our talk of the Dallas Cowboys.